Hello, my name is Sandra. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome to my channel. Today, I am bringing you my February reading vlog early. There were 4 books that I had a goal of reading for the month of February. I read more than that. I wanted to stitch together a little vlog because I decided to read Gothikana, Bride, Pillar of Ash, and Butcher and Blackbird for the month of February. I read these books by February 19th, so that is why I am bringing you this reading vlog early. So I hope you enjoy this vlog. First book of February, Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I'm about to start reading this one. I have gotten my snacks. I made a trip to Aldi today. They just opened up a store in my neighborhood. So I got some dried mango, which is one of my favorite snacks. I have my hot tea, my bedtime tea at 4 p.m. And I have my puppy occupied with a chew stick, the last chew stick. So hopefully I can get some reading done. I'm about to get cozy and start reading. I'm really excited about this one. All I know about it is it's like a Romeo and Juliet werewolf vampire love story. And I know it's Ali Hazelwood's first romantasy type of book, like supernatural creatures. I'm excited to dive in. Okay, time out. I just finished the prologue. I started snickering because there's a part where, this happens right off the bat, so it's not really spoilery, but the vampire bride has come to the altar and the groom-to-be is a werewolf. And he is just inhaling over and over her smell, and I just got flashes of Twilight. There's that. I just finished the first chapter and my initial thoughts are there is so much world building. My eyes are glazing over a little bit, but I'm sure it will get better because I've only heard wonderful things about this book. The vampire werewolf politics is kind of reminding me of something like the True Blood series, the Sookie Stackhouse series by Charlaine Harris. I read those books a long time ago and really enjoyed those. There's a lot of politics behind the werewolf faction and the vampires. But holy cow, the first chapter was over 20 pages long. Around the 15-page mark, my eyeballs start glazing over and I start getting a little fatigued. I prefer shorter chapters. Short and snappy. So far, I'm intrigued, so I'm gonna keep reading and then I'll check in once I have made a big chunk of progress. I am 50% of the way through Bride and I'm loving it. I haven't been able to read as much as I wanted. We had a little bit of snow. My son's school did a remote learning day, so he was home all day. And then with still potty training the puppy, it's been a little crazy, so I haven't been able to concentrate. Also, the chapters are just really long in this book, so it kind of slows down the pace and I've just been so tired. This book really picked up and I am absolutely loving it. Just finished chapter 15 and I just love the relationship and the banter between Lo and Misery and Lo's interactions with his sister Anna, Misery's past with her best friend Serena. I'm just loving all of it. It's a different enough story from other werewolf and vampire stories that I've personally read and I'm just enjoying it so far. I'm kind of sad that it's like a standalone book, but you know, it's Ali Hazelwood, so I'll just enjoy the story for what it is. Hopefully I can make another big chunk today. I am tabbing because I absolutely love lines in here. Gizmo wants to say hi. He has been trying to eat the corner of my book. We're working on his behavior. We're working on it. Say bye-bye so I can continue reading.
Baby, you got me going oh so crazy. You got me in my mind, I've been thinking so lately. Broke down, I've done it all before. Words are said, but they left right through the door.
Happy Valentine's Day. I'm about 70% of the way through Bride. I'm taking a break. I'm going to visit a local bookshop today. It's a used bookshop called Once Upon a Time Books. It's one of my favorite shops in Northwest Arkansas. I ordered a bunch of books online. I'm gonna keep it a secret for now what the books were. They're super old, but I had an idea for a little series to do on the channel. So more to come on that, but I'm so excited to go pick them up today and then just browse the shelves. So it's a sunny day today and it's looks gorgeous, and I kind of just want to find a cozy spot out in the sun to read. I should finish Bride today, and I'm so excited, and then I'm gonna start Gothikana. I'll let you know how that goes. Finished Bride last night and it was so good. I didn't want the book to end. I know I complained about Ali Hazelwood's pacing because of the longer chapters in the beginning, but it got so much better. They just whipped by so fast. Count on Ali Hazelwood to keep things based in biology because the knot thing was hilarious and somehow sexy. I just loved all of the friendships and characters in this book so much. It was so well done. Really enjoyed it. After finishing Bride, I started Gothikana last night, and initial impressions, I'm intrigued, and the school reminds me of a mix of like Harry Potter / Wednesday. It's just kind of dark and kooky, so I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm only like 3-4 chapters in. Hopefully I can get halfway through, which I think is about chapter 13. I have a lot to do today. I gave Puppy a bath, I'm doing laundry, I need to do my exercise, I need to eat some lunch before I get hangry, and then hopefully I can settle down and make some progress on this book. Gothikana by RuNyx. I thought I was going to make it halfway and do an update, but I pretty much binged the rest of the book. I read it in probably a span of 24 hours. I couldn't put it down. It was what I was looking for a romantic February read because it is so romantic and I really love the author's writing. Just as an example, out of context, so I don't think this is spoilery, human contact was such a precious thing. Only people who had been starved of touch knew the value of it, knew never to take it for granted, especially something so intimate as sleeping beside someone. As someone who had always slept alone, even when she lived with her mama, Corvina hadn't realized how hungry she had been for the prolonged contact that made her feel like she belonged. She'd always wanted to belong, to be loved, to be cherished by someone despite every piece of baggage she came with. The sheer degree of that desire made something hollow inside her chest gnaw and ache. She wanted to stay right there, letting him hold her safe. I loved Vad and Corvina so much. I was all about the mystery of what was happening on this university campus. I loved the modern setting. I loved how secluded everyone felt. There are a few scenes in there that were just so viscerally romantic, and I loved them. One in particular was like a drive through a storm, which I really loved. But I love Vad's character. I loved Vad and Corvina together. I thought that their romance was really sweet. Also, reading this book is such a pleasing experience because the edition is so beautiful. I mean, apart from the gothic cover and the stained edges, each chapter heading is so beautiful. The full color end papers are so pretty. The coat of arms for Varenmore University is really nice. I'm gonna pop up and just like flip through some pages so you can see, but it's like such a treat to pick up this book and read it. I typically think that reading an ebook is a superior experience because I'm able to read faster, it's more convenient, and if it's a thick book, which I tend to read thicker books, it's not so heavy on my wrists. Reading pretty editions like this is so nice. I really like this author. I was trying to look up information about her, could not find much. She seems a bit reclusive, which I totally understand. But apparently she is working on a book called Arkana, a standalone, which is based at Varenmore University, but in the 1800s, so it's more of a historical gothic romance, which you know I'm going to be here for that, so I'm going to pick that up too. So now I am going to pick up Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver and get started on that. I've heard good things, I've heard some bad things. I will be interested to see where I lie on the spectrum. I know that the two protagonists are very Dexter-like characters, and I enjoyed all but the last season of Dexter. I haven't watched the new Dexter show that came out, but yes, the Ruinous Love trilogy. Looking forward to picking this one up. So I finished Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver, and I almost have no words for how bizarre but entertaining this book was. First off, I think it's a bold choice that she made the romance center around two serial killers, two Dexter-like characters. I'm like, where can this possibly go? Also, Butcher and Blackbird is the first book in the Ruinous Love trilogy. The second book, ller and ller, is coming out June 4th of 2024, but it's gonna follow the older brother and then the singer bestie. And then the last book, I believe, Scythe and Sparrow, is gonna follow the younger brother and his girlfriend fleeing Rose, and that comes out early 2025. I'm probably gonna finish the series, but I'm not like rushing to pick up the second book in June. Basically, I have no idea what I just read, but do I hate it? No.
It was absolutely absurd and gross at times, but I did enjoy the romance between Sloane and Rowan. Friends to lovers seems a stretch. I mean, they spend the first 3 years of their acquaintance physically apart, only meeting up for a very, very, very brief time every year. When they finally do get together, it's almost like insta-lovey in a way. But I mean, when you find your killer soulmate, you have to hang tight, I guess, right? So there's only so many people that you could possibly meet that would understand you and get you at such a cellular level. So, I mean, I get it, I think. Her crazy matches his crazy, so it's a match made in murder? So this part is going to be kind of spoilery, but I have to talk about 2 scenes in particular that were kind of bizarre, just bonkers to me. The first scene was the lobotomist. That part was so nasty. I could not look at Rowan the same afterwards. Rowan ends up eating human meat in his dish and then face plants like into his bowl because he's been poisoned. I just could not see him romantically after this because it was so disgusting, and the book is kind of just like this, so I mean, I get it, but I mean, any sexiness factor that he had as a character just died to me after that, especially with all the vomiting that ensued, which I mean, I would be doing the same thing if I ate human flesh, but just gag. It took me out of like the romantic aspect of it. The second part was the Texas chainsaw part. Rowan and Sloane are like making out, and the whole time they're like leaving this poor other girl whose boyfriend just got chainsawed in this hole in the ground, and they only have eyes for each other, and they're like making out, and the chainsaw guy is still running around, and I'm like, come on guys, is this really the time to be doing this? Really, right now? That was a little But I mean, if Brynne Weaver wanted to write a very memorable, nuanced story, she totally did it with Butcher Blackbird. So there's that. Also, the David guy from the lobotomist part gave me the heebie-jeebies. I mean, this whole book just had this underlying ick about it that I couldn't get sucked into the romance part of it completely. The 2 things just don't go together for me. But I'm glad I read it. It was a very unique story, an interesting take on February for me. And now I'm going to move on to the final book that I have on my TBR for this month, which is Pillar of Ash by H.M. Long, which is the final book in this quartet. So I'm excited to read this one. It's still technically winter, even though the weather is finally warming up. I'm kind of squishing this one in there before spring comes. Wish me luck. We're back! He doesn't want to be here, but he has no choice because I need to keep my eye on him. I finished Pillar of Ash yesterday. I read it in a day. There were short, snappy chapters that really propelled the story forward. I couldn't put it down. Out of the 4 Pillars quartet, this one might be the best. I feel like I say that with every book that's released, but this one was really good. In the 4 Pillar series, Hall of Smoke is the first book, and it follows a disgraced Ingi priestess named Hessa, who is a priestess of the goddess of war. And then Temple of No God follows Hessa many years after the events of Hall of Smoke, and there's different rises and falls of different factions of people vying for power in this world. And then Borrow of Winter, which I also reviewed along with Hall of Smoke, follows Hessa's niece Thray, who is the last daughter of Winter. So it's kind of a personal journey for her to discover her roots and get to know her demigod siblings, which I love this one as well. And so Pillar of Ash follows Yiska, who is the daughter of Hessa and the cousin to Thray. In this book, Yiska accompanies her twin brother Baron along with several other people to the far east to explore this ancient tree that there has been a vision about. And the tree also borders this area called the Unmade, which is like a Shadowlands that no one has ever been past. And so there's a lot of monsters and creatures, and there's still like these demigods walking around and that kind of conflict. One of the reasons why I couldn't put this book down is because Yiska is a pacifist in this world where she can't really afford to be a pacifist because of all of the dangers that are about. The book was jam-packed full of action scenes and these small battles, and then the epic battle at the end. They get kidnapped at one point, and Yiska doesn't want to go on this journey with her twin brother. She wants to like stop him from going, which he's too stubborn not to. She has been raised all her life to be kind of like an apprentice to the great healer. If you're a Wheel of Time fan, this is kind of like a Village Wisdom. H.M. Long writes little to no romance in her 4 Pillar particular series. I would say Pillar of Ash has the most romance out of all of them, and I actually really enjoy how Hannah writes her romance. There's a lot of tension, there's very believable conflict. I really like the tension and the relationship between Yiska and Isik. And Isik is what's called a Miri, which is one of the fallen gods from the previous series. Each of the books is a standalone within this world, but I would strongly recommend going back and reading them in order. So Hall of Smoke, Temple of No God, Bar of Winter, and then Pillar of Ash. Just because these books are high adult epic fantasy, and there's a lot of world building and lore that can slip through the cracks if you don't read the previous books. So it's just a very rich world. In my February books, you know, I read Bride, Gothikana, and then Butcher and Blackbird. I was ready for this kind of adult epic fantasy book that had very little romance in it. So it was a good balance to the month. Like I said, I flew through this book in a day. I tabbed parts that I really loved. I thought it was a really sweet ending to the quartet as well. Everything culminated in this epic battle at the end, and I feel like the story came full circle with what began as Hessa's fall from grace, and then the outing of these new gods and these old gods emerging and all of these creatures walking about. I loved how this ended. There was like a slight twist about 2/3 of the way through this book that I really enjoyed whenever it was revealed, and so I feel like this closed the loop on all of the stories that we followed throughout the series. I recommend this one if you're in the mood for an adult, high, Norse-inspired epic fantasy story. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this vlog. If I had to pick a favorite book that I read this month, it would probably be a tie between Bride by Ali Hazelwood and Gothikana by RuNyx. I like these for very different reasons. They had very different vibes, but I loved them. So I need more. I'm so happy that Ali Hazelwood has another book, Not in Love, coming out in just a few months because I love her writing. And then I'm really looking forward to Arkana whenever that comes out. So Butcher and Blackbird was good. I think I rated it 4 stars just because I had a hard time balancing the gore and nastiness with the romance aspect of it just because of the nature of the book. But it was a very entertaining read. It was so out there and absurd, and it was great. And I think that it will make a lot of people chuckle. Pillar of Ash I rated 4.5 stars. Like I said, the chapters flew by. It was a snappy story. I was really compelled by the plot line of this pacifist struggling with not enacting violence against other people and creatures, and just her journey, and then the entire quartet closing out. So I found this one very satisfying as well. All in all, I had a great reading month in February. Stay tuned for an upcoming video on some possible series on the channel that I want to kick off, as well as what I plan to read for the month of March. Spring is almost here. Yay! Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!